What up, YouTube? This is Officer Whitelaw, and I'm back here with another amazing video. We're gonna be hanging out with the DUI unit tonight, and so you check it out. See who I got here? What's going on, man?
What's up, buddy?
So this right here, this is Officer Majors. He's one of our DUI experts, or DUI officers per se, and he's gonna give us a tour of this big beast right here. What you got for us?
So this is our mobile DUI enforcement center. So it's a 43 foot long, 13 foot tall bus.
So we get ready to check it out inside?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. Dang, the stairs just come out like that? Yeah. All right, don't step up. What you want to show us first?
Yeah, so in our bus here, it's basically a police station on wheels.
What gets somebody on this bus?
Yeah, so we take this out on checkpoints, but we will also bring this out just to kind of be bright, so that folks know that we're out there. So if you get stopped and the officers believe that you may be drunk or high, they'll bring you up on this bus, and then they'll start doing the processing.
Cool. All right. So and what would the process look like?
Yeah. So we first bring you back here. You can sit in one of our comfortable chairs.
So, all right, y'all see it here. I'm sitting down right now on the bus, right? So this is kind of the place that you don't want to end up, because like I told you before, these officers are experts at catching people who are out there under the influence, whether that be drugs or alcohol. So these are the ones that you want to run into.
Once we're done here, we'll walk you up here, and we'll have you stand here where I am, and we're gonna start our breath instrument process, and I believe Doug's gonna go through that with you. I'm not sure, but we'll start the process up, put in all of your name and all of that stuff, and then we'll have you actually do a breath test here.
So you guys can see how things have changed up real quickly. We were hanging out with the guys, getting a tour of some of their vehicles, and now I'm going to be in the car with Officer White, who's headed to a pretty serious car accident, and so we'll get the rundown here in a second. So you guys stay tuned. So, Officer White, where are we headed to?
Currently we're headed to a serious injury crash near the intersection of 40 Highway and Topping. AIU, our Accident Investigation Unit, is currently en route to that crash as well, along with other traffic units and the crash investigators.
So what's a part of the process like when you get here? What's your plan? What will you be doing when you get here?
So initial plans on a lot of these, if it's unknown if the person's impaired or not, we then run them through fields, see if there's any form of impairment. Then we go ahead and if there is signs of impairment, we then obviously place them under arrest for DUI and go throughout the process of getting a blood draw in regards to a serious injury. Sometimes there is no impairment involved. Sometimes it's obviously apparent from the beginning that there is impairment involved. And actually on this one, officers had advised us that there is possible impairment involved on this.
So, when you're looking for impairment, I heard you say something about fields. For people that don't know, what's that look like?
It is the standardized field sobriety test. It's the horizontal gaze nystagmus test, the walk and turn test, and the one leg staying test. It's traditionally, as people think, it was SFSTs.
So that's basically the stuff that we usually see. You might see in movies. I guess a point of reference would be people seeing like someone, saying the alphabet backwards and things like that. That's where that kind of comes from.
Yes, sir. Actually, yeah. And that is actually one of those tests that gets involved is different parts of the alphabet, counting in different forms and manners, and there's like finger to nose and finger counting tests that are separate ones, but not part of the standardized 3.
And so how does tests like that, how does that show you impairment or not?
So the standardized field sobriety tests are called a psychophysical test. Psychophysical tests are where it makes you think and makes you do something at the same time, where you have to think and actively do. Same thing as when you're driving a motor vehicle. You have to think about things such as, I see a speed limit coming up that says 35 miles per hour. If you're normally driving, you got to think about it saying 35 miles per hour. You got to then move your foot over to the left to brake. If you're going above the speed limit, you got to remember to stay in the lane. So you got to do a lot of things that are psychophysical. So those tests are meant to show if there's any impairment to you being able to do those actions.
Gotcha. We're gonna meet up with Officer Kagan back here. So, Officer Kagan, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
All right. So, what you want to, show us here? What you got going on?
Sure. This is our blood evidence recovery station. So as you were talking about, Officer White, he's at the hospital right now. So if he does end up recovering some blood evidence, he's going to end up right here in this chair. We have everything that we need. We treat this just as we would any other evidence that the police department recovers. We have our evidence sheets, and our blood evidence actually is sent to Children's Mercy Hospital, and they do our toxicology analysis on that. So a couple different things that we have here. We have our blood vials, so we'll provide these to the hospital. We always use gray top blood vials. I know there's a whole bunch of different colors out there, but for police and law enforcement purposes, we always use these gray tops. So we'll have a phlebotomist or a registered nurse draw the blood for us. We'll bring it back here to our unit here. We will put them inside these protective tubes after we label them and mark them as evidence. And like I said, we handle this just as we would any other type of evidence that's recovered by the police department. So we follow the chain of custody. That way, when this does go to court in the future, the attorneys involved can document where this evidence has been and all the different steps that it takes along the process. So I'm going to take these tubes and I'm going to put them in this.
So what's that you're putting it in there?
Just a regular manila envelope that we use for our evidence.
Okay.
And then we have some evidence tape. We use our orange hazmat tape since this is blood, so it could have some dangerous pathogens in there. So we use our orange evidence tape just to signify that it might be hazardous to whoever's handling this in the future. So we're gonna tape this up. That way it's tamper-proof, and anyone at Children's Mercy or our crime lab would know if anyone's tried to tamper with it or has done anything with the evidence once we seal that in there. We put our name on here, our serial number, we date, and put that information across the seal. That way, if anything happens to it, we would know that it had been tampered with. And then here's our evidence fridge right here. So once we finish labeling this package, we put that in here with the appropriate paperwork, and it would be in this locked refrigerator until it's transferred down to Children's Mercy Hospital for analysis.
When you're doing a blood draw, what can the blood tell you about someone's impairment?
Sure. The blood, what we're looking for a lot of times is the blood alcohol content. The alcohol content that's in a person's blood, and blood will also, you'll talk about a breathalyzer later, which will only give us their blood alcohol content. But we're also, when we recover blood, we can also find out if there's any drugs in that person's blood or any other impairing substances in their blood.
Cool. So, you guys don't just you guys can't just take someone's blood, right? So, what does that look like?
That's
What do you
correct.
need to do to get someone's blood?
Sure. We have something in the state of Missouri called implied consent. So once you operate a motor vehicle in the state of Missouri, you consent to giving a breath or blood sample to law enforcement upon their request.
All right. So, as I'm making my way through the entire DUI expert team, we're going to run into another officer here. He's going to tell us a little bit about himself. All right. So, how you doing, sir?
Doing good. How are you?
Good. So, what's your name?
Sean Davis.
I guess what I want to ask you is, why do you come out here and do this job every day? How long have you been in this unit?
So I've been in this unit for coming up on 3 years.
Okay.
I've been on the department for over 14 years now. I came down here to get into traffic investigations. I've always been drawn to crashes and what the dynamics of crashes and how everything comes together. And there was an opportunity for me to come down to the DUI unit, and it really tied me into the crashes because there's such a high percentage of the crashes involved an impaired driver. So that brought me in here, and I really fell in love with it. There's a lot of stuff to learn. You become an expert in your field. The training doesn't stop, and it kind of touched home to me. Everyone in some way is affected by an impaired driver at some point in their life, whether it's a family, a friend, or somebody that they know through a friend. Or it could be you're just driving down the highway and you see that traumatic crash from an impaired driver. So in some way, almost everyone is impacted by a crash. I myself have lost a family member. I had an uncle that was killed by an impaired driver. So I mean, it touched me, it touched my family in ways that nobody should ever see. I mean, you should never see your grandmother and your mother and your aunts and uncles in that state of mind. But that's what brought me down here. That's how I got here, and I really enjoy it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm about to step in here for a second. Most times in this job, you don't want to have to walk into the sergeant's office, but today I'm on good terms, so we're gonna go in here and we're gonna meet Sarge. He's the leader of this whole team, and talk to him a little bit about his role in this whole thing. So let's check him out. Hey Sarge, it's cool if I come in?
Yes, sir. Hey, what's going on? How are you?
What's going on, sir?
Not too bad.
How you doing?
Not too bad. Can't
Cool.
complain.
All right, so for all the people that don't know who you are, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Sergeant Corey Carlisle. I'm the DUI Sergeant with Kansas City, Missouri Police Department. Been here about a year and a half as the supervisor, and I used to actually be an officer in this unit. 782 back in 2010 to about 2013. So, and now I'm back supervising the DUI unit.
Cool. So I see you running this team. How many people you got working for you in this office?
Currently, I have 6 officers assigned to me, and myself. So we got a seven officer team here. to do DUI enforcement and look for impaired drivers.
So y'all handle the entire city, all 7 of y'all?
Yes, all 7 of us. We handle all the entire city, which includes multiple counties: Jackson County, Clay County, Platte County, Clay County. So we work within all those jurisdictions. So we have different municipalities we have to deal with to enforce DUI laws.
Man. All right. So everybody else has been kind of showing me, you know, different parts of what you all do, you know, different equipment and tools. You know, I guess we're playing show and tell. So is it something that you wanted to show me?
Well, absolutely. So
right.
Some of these tools that we use for DUI enforcement are recognizable. This is a portable breath test. So this is a non-evidentiary instrument that we use roadside to gather more information on whether someone is impaired. As you know, there's a legal per se limit that's been established in the state of Missouri, and that is 0.08. So as long as you blow under that, then we can use this as a kind of like a, you know, lack of better words, get out of jail free card for people. They don't believe us, but I can tell you how many people that have let go because of we did field sobriety and they were kind of on the line and they took this, and I was like, okay, well, you're good to go. I would suggest you call her out or get her taxi, but you're free to go. But then again, it can't confirm what our suspicions are. So this is called the AS4. The way this works, you power it on, it gives you the temperature on there because it has to work within a certain temperature range. We give them instructions on how to blow into this. We use this plastic piece that's covered for their safety. We have them put in there and it gives you instructions to blow, and then we ask them to give a sample. You haven't been drinking, have you?
No, I haven't.
All right.
So I guess we back again with it. So check it out.
Deep breath, create a tight seal with your lips and blow. Blow, 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 stop. And of course, we should expect to see triple zeros on that.
All right,
and of course, let me double check. Yeah, we do. So, and that's as easy as how the test goes. And we use this particularly just for alcohol. That's the only thing it tests. And so now, since we're moving up into technology, and we try to be progressive, and we try to keep up with the latest trends in technology. So what we're dealing with now is people who are operating motor vehicles under the influence of drugs, particularly marijuana, amphetamines, dissociative anesthetics such as PCP or heroin. So what this is also PBT, but this PBT, which is the Soltoxa, actually tests for drugs. So we can take a saliva sample on scene. Once again, it's non-evidentiary, and they can test this. If we have impairment, then we can ask them to take the sample to see if there's anything in their system in regards to drugs. So this is some new technology that we're using, and we're just trying to stay within the technological realms of what we're dealing with as we progress, especially dealing with drivers impaired by drugs and our alcohols, because we're going to do everything that we can to maintain and keep our citizens safe operating their vehicles on the roadways.
All right, so the DUI unit has been kind enough to show me around, show me how they get things done here and the things that they're doing to, you know, make sure that the streets of Kansas City are safer and we're keeping impaired drivers off the road. So you'll notice we're down a couple here. Officer White's still out there working hard, and Officer Major's still out here. We got the rest of the team back here. So I was wondering, do y'all know what we want them to do?
Yes. Like and subscribe.
Hey, y'all heard it here first. I want y'all to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We appreciate y'all watching the video. If you have any questions about the DUI unit and what they do, or maybe some other questions that weren't asked, you know, some things that we didn't clarify in the video, go ahead and leave a comment under the video and we'll get that answer for you. So we'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.